Hey, Smooth Brain.
Yo.
How's your Lance Lynn bet going with the Simp? The other one that's working right now.
It's been getting better. We got...
What was the number?
I get 4.5 and above on the ERA. He gets 4.49 and below.
What's the league average this year?
Like mid 4.4s last I checked.
Yeah. All right. So he's just got to be slightly below average for you to win. Okay.
And it was 3.23 just a few starts ago, but it's been climbing. Now it's above 4. Heading my direction.
Alberto's is what a former Cardinal, Orlando Cepeda used to call the Cardinals when he played for them. Lance Lynn is now a negative WAR. Shocking. Putty Chains. What's up, homie?
Lance Lynn has not been good. Like I would have more faith right now in Andre Palante starting a game than Lance Lynn.
Uh-oh.
I don't think that's going to be maybe the way you feel all season.
No, I hope not.
But you look at his last... I mean, you can look since the beginning of May. I think he's had maybe 2 starts that you'd call good. And then before last night, he had 3 in a row where he didn't get through 5. And last night, I did like your tweet, by the way.
What was it?
He said anybody can be an innings eater if you leave him in there long enough, basically.
That's a damn good tweet.
Right?
Cole.
Like, it's an overrated terminology.
I'm going to look it up right now and like it.
Thank you.
That's what I'm going to do.
I would if me and Twitter weren't in our mortal beef.
What happened to you?
They deleted my account.
What? What? Cheap seat fan?
They deleted it years ago.
Why?
Yeah, I know.
Was that pre-Elon?
Yes, pre-Elon.
They just deleted it. I was wondering.
It got hacked.
They deleted it.
It got hacked.
Did you click one of the links? What'd you do?
No, I didn't do anything.
Okay.
It got hacked, and then they wouldn't go reclaim it, even though I had proof of existence. And I said, nope, I'm done.
And if it happened to me, I'd just be like, all right.
Yeah, I don't care. That was me.
Like,
That was me. That was me. I was just
It might be a gift.
I was like, I don't care.
I'm free.
I don't have enough time to do it.
Yeah, but I mean, being an innings eater, what does that mean? It means that you're healthy. Because everyone's talking about...
And your manager likes you.
Yeah, 100
Or doesn't.
we need a guy who's going to pitch 180 innings this year. Okay, so you're asking for a starting pitcher who's going to make like 30 starts and actually be healthy. Yes, I think we would all like that out of our starting pitchers.
Yeah.
But you leave him out.
There's a happy medium.
That's a damn good tweet.
Well,
Cole.
there's a happy medium in being an innings eater, though, because, I mean, the thing about it is you can't, in most cases, when you're doing that, go out and just be absolutely horrible.
Allow 17 runs.
And not keeping your team in the game. I think
Right.
some guys you look to put on the mound to go win games, and I think you put some guys on the mound to keep you in them. Most guys that get a true, when they're not, using it to drive them into the ground, innings eater tab is somebody you're saying, listen, we're going to have to hit for this guy if he's going to win. But he can stay out there and he can work it. There's a place for that in rotations in my mind. I think the problem is the Cardinals have just got too many of them. And it's been that way for a little while.
Who are the Cardinals innings eaters?
Well, I think Miles Michaelis has made a career being one.
Okay.
And I think that Lance is one too. I wouldn't say that
Not
Kyle
this year.
Gibson is. Kyle Gibson is more or less of a I'll get you out there, set the table, you got to finish it type guy. But he's dependable. He gets out there
He's
and
gone
does it.
deeper than anybody else in the rotation this year. I mean, he's had more 6-inning outings.
I think that's a little bit more of an indictment of the rotation and how it's used, though. 'Cause,
Okay,
I mean,
I'll look up some stats on that. I understand your point.
I think that the Cardinals are more inclined to get the game to their bullpen than they are to say go win the game from the starter standpoint.
Right.
And I think even that applies to Sonny in some regards.
Oh, it definitely applies.
I mean,
to Sonny.
Sonny's calling card coming to town wasn't I'm going to go work
It
7,
was
8
not innings eater at all.
It's I'm
Elite
effective.
stuff.
I'm
throwing heat
done,
and
I'm
getting
gonna
out
do it.
for
Yeah.
5 or 6.
Who's the next guy, Cole, that's going to get the treatment of the shotgun and the horse?
Oh, that's a good question.
When do you think that's going to go down, and who do you think it's going to be for the Cardinals?
You kind of have simmered down, though, a little bit.
No, he did. He did, because last year.
That was like all the time. Now, granted, they were really bad last year, so
Man, did I
they
laugh at
deserved
that.
it more often, I guess.
Who's going to get it? Is it Lynn? He gets lit up a couple more times. You can take him out.
Are you already walking out to the barn
Are
to
you
load
gonna
it
get
up,
him?
or where are we at here?
Where's the ammo? Are you looking for the ammo?
No, because he's been kind of good in some starts. Then he's kind of in no man's land. I don't really know what he is.
Okay.
I think the best way that I can describe him, I think I tweeted this out last week at some point during the Pirates-Cardinals series. He is the worst decent pitcher I've ever seen in my life.
I like that.
Like, even when he gets out of it and his stat line looks pretty good, like, he's hanging on by a thread And
so is his uniform.
You know what?
I'm dead serious.
No, that is actually perfect. His uniform personifies his pitching because the dam is about to break and that button is about to snap off at any given moment.
What you got against CC Sabathia?
That's a good point.
Nothing.
Right there,
he was a Cy Young winner.
That's a dang good point.
It was time.
Is he African American?
Yes.
Okay.
It was time.
Just asking.
Have you seen a picture of him? Hey,
he could be.
You could have been your answer yesterday.
He could. CC Sabathia.
He played for the Indians at one point.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
I prefer you say Guardians.
Well, he didn't play for the Guardians.
He's one of the 15 black
Played for the
aces.
Indians.
He's one of the 15 black aces in MLB history. It was time to bring him up.
Seen Hall of Fame?
Not yet. He will be shortly.
He's a pretty cool guy.
It seems like it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I saw a video of him the other day, too.
He's slimmed down, too.
CC Sabathia.
Oh, my God. He was one of the greatest trade deadline acquisitions.
Oh, boy.
Ever.
By Milwaukee. Yep. Hit a home run for him, too.
You guys
So good that there's an actual tribute to him in the stadium still.
Really?
There's a huge.
That's right.
There's a huge
mural?
10-foot mural of CC Sabathia up in Milwaukee.
He went 11-2 with a 1.65 in 17 starts.
and hit a jack coming out the
7
American League.
complete games with Milwaukee, and he only pitched there half the year.
Although the Indians did get a hell of a player to be named later. They were the Indians at the time.
I know, but
That was their name. Who'd they get?
I know.
Michael Brantley.
Okay.
Just trying to do the right
As
thing.
far
Matty.
as
Not my department today.
PCB
Not my department
He's
today.
focused on one thing.
I'm focused on one thing today. Whatever else you do,
I'm just saying.
whatever else you do, we
also
can get back to that
African-American.
tomorrow.
So stupid. Good God. Hey, Cole. Yeah. But you guys don't know the MLB logo, who it is, with the big nose?
I do not. The
all
nose
saying
is throwing me.
Harmon.
Well, Harmon Killebrew. You already
Yeah.
you
Oh,
said his
yeah.
first name.
That's
Yeah, I know.
that's
Oh,
confusing.
you just
though.
seen if you
You
do.
Paul.
Killebrew.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't know many Harmons.
They turned it.
I don't know a
They
lot of
turned
them.
it around because he was a right-handed hitter.
Well, no, that's it. The logo is right-handed.
Can we look-
I don't
is
agree
it-
with you. I think so.
Can we see a picture of
You
him?
think it's over his back?
I don't know if he
Yes.
looks like a bird.
So they're looking at it over his back.
Correct. And the nose is still.
I've always looked at it as
Peeking
facing
out.
forward, but I guess it is over the back.
How's
Yeah.
that schnoz look, Cole?
It's quite a schnoz.
I
he's
need
got
to.
a big schnoz.
Does he? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it pointy
No.
like that?
He must have got pelted by that ball.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Okay.
The ball flattened it.
Your nose gets a little more
No, your nose
pronounced
gets
when you get older.
it
As
gets
you get
bigger.
older.
It gets
Yeah.
bigger and nastier looking.
Paul Lucas, a writer for ESPN. What year would this have been? Well, doesn't say when this article
Paul
was written.
Loduca, the catcher?
Whenever Harmon Killebrew died, he wrote an article saying Harmon Killebrew was not the basis for MLB logo.
Vic says, "Happy Freedom Day." Although, as long as you're
Yeah,
paying
baby.
taxes, you're never truly free. Vic
Well,
on
I
your
think,
side.
I think both of those things can be true next to each other.
Yeah, the tax things. Tough. Let's see here.
So which black business are we supporting today, boys?
That's a damn good question.
That's the only ask. That's the only ask of the day.
Where should I go?
I
Because you know
figure
I'm
something out.
starving.
Yeah, we can figure something out. We're about to go shopping.
Yeah. Huh.
Just think about it, guys.
Is there any out by in Wildwood? Let's see.
Come on.
Oh man.
I think
oh,
this
man.
is as close as you're going to get to them right here.
Yeah. Oh, let's see here.
We can go down and buy you a wave cap.
Yeah. Okay.
Take care of you. Have you looking like Marcus Stroman?
Oh man, my hair. It's just.
Would that be cultural appropriation?
No, it's okay. It'd be like Jamie Kennedy when he did the what was that movie? When he was the good guy. I look it up. I was like, oh wow, it'd be like John Cena.
Last night's loss is a perfect example of Oli the Dolly inability to win games as he displays time and again his natural ability to lose games. He is ineffective as the 10th man as the most winning coaches are.
I like how every single loss is blamed on him.
All
And
of them.
And I actually do blame this one on him.
But why? What? Tell me. Not pushing back. I want clarification.
I think they were trying to. I agree with the concept of expanding Lance Lynn's workload despite being poor because you had a lead and because you're trying to preserve your bullpen. You had multiple guys go
You had
multiple
four
innings.
guys, and you had asked about Helsley. All he said after, he just listed the four that were unavailable. So it wasn't like, well, why wasn't Helsley available? I think we have brains, so we know that, look, if he says he's not available, you can be upset about
yeah.
that. But he's not going to put him in if Helsley's like, no, I can't go.
But-
So.
Okay, then that's I don't know who to I don't know who to blame there.
I'll make the case. I don't care. At
ahead.
some point, you can't manage every game for the day that you're playing it in. And if you know you're going to get in a point where you're going to be at a spot where you got to leave a guy to no matter what happens when he's on the mound, he's got to stay out there. It doesn't happen. That happens in situations where you've had double headers, if you have rules and things for that, or if you've been wearing guys down over the course of days. But when he sent him back out there for that extra inning,
the sixth inning,
I was like,
give up a home run to the 9-hole.
The fifth, there was a case that finishing the fifth might have been too much.
I agree.
So when he comes back out there, regardless of whether you said that guys aren't available, they're not this, they're not that. Like, listen, I'm the last guy that's an old school honk. Guys used to throw 150 pitches.
Right.
That's a different day. But I am still enough with it to say that, look, I know I told you that this might not be the day that you're going to go, but the way this is going right now, we got to get somebody in there. And either that, if you know you're going to have 4 guys down in a bullpen, you got to make a move. Get somebody up here. Or to your point,
had Ludus.
Use Ludus. Like, he's there.
You knew he wouldn't be there today,
but
too.
That's my point about why I agree. I think, again, that's strategy. Like, at the end of the day, the boys have got to perform when they're on the field. But if you've got another guy that you know isn't going to be there that's eligible to go, don't stretch it. There's no reason to do that.
Make him throw an inning. I agree.
I put that one on Oli. Lance shouldn't have been back out there.
100% agree with that. I agree with letting him go a little bit longer. And the 5th inning was the little bit longer, but they were trying to squeeze that rag and get every last drop out of Lance Lynn.
Oh, God.
And that's what ended up biting that.
And it doesn't look good when you juxtapose.
They were trying to button that last button on the jersey, and then it popped off, and all of a sudden they got to get their sewing machine out to stitch it back on.
When you
it's hard not to see that.
Juxtapose it to taking Sonny Gray out after 84 pitches and taking Palante out in the 4th inning. Like, those are the things that add up to last night. But even with those things, to point out that you could have used a guy that came up here, had a little vacation, and then went back down today, and you knew he was going back down because Kyle Gibson was coming off the bereavement list to make his start.
That's the guy you should be wearing out.
That looks even worse because there's no reason that Ludus didn't pitch in that game last night. I get it. You have a lead, so you think you can get more out of Lance Lynn. He looked bad.
Yeah.
And I don't agree with stretching him as far as he did. But if you let Sonny Gray try to handle that spot in the 8th inning the night before, or if Jojo Romero does his job, like, some of it's not on Oli. You bring in a guy that's supposed to have a good matchup against a lefty and he walks him. Those things happen, but they're capable of happening as well. And that cost you 2 innings of Kittredge. That cost you 2 innings of Ryan Fernandez the night before. You'd have had more guys available for yesterday. So it is a downstream effect. It's going to come home to roost, the aggressive moves to the bullpen when your starters are maybe capable of going a little bit deeper. But then because of it, he had to flip it all the way in the other direction yesterday. But even still, we all agree he didn't have to flip it to Lance Lynn pitching in inning number 6. It didn't need to happen.
And here's the weird thing about it, too, and I'm not saying that Oli Marmol would be the only one to do this, but if a reliever had the 5th inning that Lance Lynn did, they would never even be considered for the 6th inning. And so I guess just blind confidence in one of your guys, and I don't know how much of Oli's managing style is actually, like, super confidence in his players. I know that he says that stuff at the podium.
I can tell you a lot of guys he's not confident in. You don't take out Andre Palante in the 4th if you have any level of confidence in him. So he just is. He doesn't believe in him.
Yeah,
that's I don't know how else to look at that.
And I understand why whenever he goes to the podium, he's always speaking very glowingly of his players. He always has their back. If they're yelling at the umpires, he's going to go out there rational or irrational and defend his guys. So I understand posturing that way for the sake of just being the leader of the team, but I definitely had some questions about leaving Lance Lynn out there as long as he did. I understood it to a degree for the 5th inning, and then when the 5th inning went poorly again, and it's like, he's just compiling bad inning after bad inning.
He got away with it.
He's the guy that you're going to take out to the shed. It's Oli.
No, because I defended him a lot. I have, because in part because I feel like there's been way too much criticism on our text line, so that's what's... I'm not necessarily...
Not
every loss is his fault.
No.
All of them.
It is up to the players.
Yeah.
But then it's up to Oli Marmol to identify Lance Lynn's not playing well today. Let's get him out of this game and then move on to the next guy.
Oli Marmol, career win-loss, 201.96.
Oh, my gosh. Stop it.
Four games over 500 only. In St. Louis, the last 231 games, they've spent 2 days above the 500 mark. Both days were under 24 hours, each due to day games following night games. Too funny. If you're at 500, you're not winning. And if you're not winning in sports, that's losing.
Okay, well, look,
That's
man.
insight.
What a text.
Excellent.
Insight. What's up, baby?
That's why his name is Insight.
I love
because because of that. But do people really think that if Tony La Russa just walked onto this roster and was managing it, that all of a sudden they would be 95-game winners? I mean, seriously, like, look.
Maybe 6-7 games over.
I have no idea, and that's my whole point, is none of us know.
Yeah.
But it is down to the play. I am really critical of one thing with Oli Marmol, and that's that he stockpiles all of their off days because they love this double off day thing where they have an off day on a Monday, let's say, and they bench everybody on Sunday on the same day instead of spreading that out.
I can tell you some things that would be unequivocally different if La Russa was managing
like
this
what?
team.
Like what?
You wouldn't have as many cooks in the kitchen on the sabermetric side of it making calls. So you might see some different outlooks about how guys are being used. I can tell you that without a shadow of a doubt.
And
that's not a knock.
Listening to 26-year-old?
That's not a knock on what sabermetrics brings. It brings insight. It brings things to the table. I'm not saying it to be again. I'm not a guy that's just stuck in the past. Like these nerds shouldn't be at the table or anything like that, or even to call them nerds. It brings value. You look at the game differently. But I do know for a fact there would be a lot more decisions that would be getting made that aren't being made the way they are.
I don't know if it'd be better, but it would be different.
Do you think Nolan Arenado would still be batting in the top 5 of the order given his poor performance? Given the fact that Tony La Russa benched Scott Rowland in a playoff game?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think
that was more personal, though.
I think that had a lot to do with a lot of other things.
That wasn't
They didn't like each other? They didn't like each other?
No.
Interesting.
Scotty had some tough relationships with people. It wasn't always on him, but I mean,
Perry Farrell has the pointy nose, hence the lyric, I am skin and bones, I am pointy nose. Mike Honcho, Perry Farrell. Oh, is that Perry Farrell? Yeah, I don't know. U City own Kevin House played in 1979 Super Bowl with the Bucks. I went to U City. Any person that downs the U gets B-slapped.
You are a fine human being.
NBA Thurman.
You are a 100% fine human being with me. Kevin House, yeah. Kevin House was there with played with my dad.
Cam,
maybe my dad played with Kevin House, more appropriate.
Cam, I saw Eric Lindros on a golf course shotgunning a beer yesterday, and he looks horrible. He's fat, all gray hair, and going bald. I haven't seen a picture of him in years. Mike from Oakville. Where was that at, dude? Oh, was he with Gretter and all them too? Probably up where Chaser's at in that Idaho thing. Yeah, man. He's getting old, dude, and his body's been through hell. I didn't know he partied like that. Interesting. Guys, Brendan is right. SLU fans are weird. Your program is ass. Sniffing holes. What's up?
No, I didn't say that. It's not about the fans. I just think they're latching on to Tatum for, like Matt said, they want the congratulatory stream and they want to be part of it.
It's being a civically responsible outlet.
I can see both sides.
And letting bygones be bygones.
Nerds.
Since he was never going to SLU anyway. What were the schools again?
It was
Kentucky,
Duke, North Carolina, and Kentucky, and SLU.
Yeah. Come on.
It is.
I want Carbondale in there.
Yeah.
I want Lindenwood in there.
Yeah.
And I want, who else can we toss in there real quick? Rolla. They're in there.
SIUE.
Oh, yeah.
Should have put Lindenwood. That was a miss.
But here's the deal. It's
Rankin Jordan.
Like, Mizzou would never do that because Mizzou is, I'll give it to them. Big time. They're in the SEC.
No, we've got other people to congratulate, like ex-point guards that are coordinators.
Played for the team,
instructors.
Was a coach, has a ring.
That makes sense.
Yeah, okay.
Are you slandering Phil Pressey on Juneteenth?
Without a doubt, I am. Yes.
I know.
Just because Kyle O'Quinn
Give
took
me
him
the
behind
moment
the shed.
that you hated the most about Phil. What did he do?
There's so many.
Is it just
2012
trying to
Norfolk
play
State.
What did he do to you, Matty?
hero ball? Is that
Yes,
what it is?
there it is. It was hero ball in a situation that never required it from him.
Yeah.
What's hero ball?
When you just start taking shots, like you're like,
play
I got it. Don't worry about it.
Clark?
Just chucking it up.
No, because she'll hit them.
Okay.
I'm talking about who's the last person on that team, whoever she is.
It's when you play 1-on-5
She's on the
and
court.
your four
She's
teammates
just,
are watching.
I got it, and you're like, God,
Make
stop.
it rain, like
Yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Yeah, not one of my, not one. Listen, this is my crusade.
It is.
Anybody that knows, even when it was happening, I was like, I'm tired of this guy.
Guys, SLU fans are annoying with trying to claim Tatum and act like their program's any good. They've never been relevant, and they act like they're a basketball powerhouse. Get on with yourself.
That's also why they are they act like a basketball powerhouse.
That's what Sniffin' Hole says.
You're accusing
I
them
believe
of that? No, this is actually small-minded behavior.
Ooh.
Or I shouldn't say small-minded.
Well, it's out there now.
Little
Better just keep talking.
little man syndrome is
The MLB logo, that's Liberace, about to get hit in the face with some balls.
God.
Oh, my God.
Here's why. Okay, SLU and Duke are not competition. Which is why Slew had no problem congratulating him. Like, Mizzou would never do that because Mizzou is a power conference school who expects, justifiably or not, expects to be competing deep into March Madness.
And they had never had a chance at getting their hat on the table for Tatum.
If Slew made the Elite Eight next year, there was no shot that they'd be congratulating Jason Tatum because all of a sudden they would consider themselves to be at the big time.
Slew makes the Elite Eight next year. There's a lot of things I'm willing to put into play for what that represents.
Cole's a rights holder. That's what Cross says.
For who?
I don't know, but
I hope not for the Cardinals.
I hope not for radio. We don't need him anymore.
No.
I need you to be crazy.
I've defended Oli Marmol at every turn, which is really me actually cutting down his credibility. Because my whole point is I don't think he's that important.
No. I'm not disagreeing with that.
I think people overrate the impact of the manager. But
Thank you. I mean, you put it more nicely than I did.
they don't like this guy. I know that.
Yeah, but...
And they don't like anybody who says anything nice about this guy.
Okay, now I know that we're conflating texters, and I don't know who has had every opinion on who, so I'm conflating the text line
Mostly
as one.
negative.
It's one
as
big amoeba.
How can you hate Oli Marmol and John Mozeliak? One is giving the other guy the ingredients, and if you think they're bad ingredients, how can you blame Oli Marmol for not turning them into
both
success?
Of them.
Oh, I think it's easy. I can break that down for you right now.
Okay.
It goes in waves. I think that last year I had a bigger issue with Mozeliak because I felt like the roster was an indecisive roster.
Oh, the roster's great now, though.
And I feel like, well, I'm going to get to it.
bench.
I'm going to get to it. My issues aren't completely gone from what happened last year, but last year we came into the season knowing not enough was done, and it was indecisive. And as opposed to saying, going to roll the dice and make trades and bring somebody else in, you just sign Contreras and Packy Naughton and say, all right, let's go.
Randy?
Good to go. But then this year, at least you recognize that your rotation wasn't good enough. And while maybe you didn't make all the moves at the level everybody wanted to say, Mozeliak went out and did his part to address what the issue was at. My problem is now with it is that there's more things that continue to come up with the usage of it, some of the pettiness. I'm never backing off of the situation.
There it is.
With the why are you upset with Derek Gould of all people when your results on the field? When your results on the field, I don't think he can handle the pressure of being challenged for not being successful with this team. That's my issue with him. My issue with Mozeliak is separate, but they both still hold
Take that,
weight.
Cole. How's that for an answer?
It.
How's that for an answer?
They're not absolutes. I think that no team gets to where this team is at compared to where the standard and where the history of this franchise has been without there being multiple things that have gone wrong. Guess who else I don't let off the hook? The players. There's a bunch of guys that have come up here and have not performed to the standard they're supposed to. Does that mean that maybe you bought the hype on them being too much? Does it mean that maybe they didn't do what they're supposed to do? I think there's some of all of that. But I would say there's a cocktail of issues about where it's at, and Mo's not off the hook, the boys aren't off the hook, or Oli isn't off the hook.
What does that mean, though, that Oli can't handle the pressure? Like, he's going out there and just making indecisive... This is going to be an oxymoron.
The pressure that comes with being held accountable for what's happening with it. He does not take the criticism well at all.
Yeah, but doesn't he do it in a way that like defends the team, defends the players?
Yeah, that's annoying, too.
I agree, but
that's the most annoying part.
I'm sure the Cardinals like it.
I don't care what they like.
That's part of his
be
role.
real.
Then do you want to roll some more blame up the ladder even further?
Yeah, well, let's.
Does that go back to Mo, who's the president of baseball operations? You say if the Cardinals like it, if Mo likes that, and that's the guy that he's vouched for to have in the job, again, that goes back into how you can have issues with both of them at the same time.
Well, I think you've proven your point that you can very reasonably have issues with both.
Yeah, I think you've
all three.
I don't
Players,
think that there's
Oli,
a
and
single
Mo.
thing that's particularly wrong with what the franchise is that one person, if you remove that, insert that, you make one change, everything's better. Listen, they're treading water. They lost a stupid game last night. Overall, they've been better than they started off. But again, I continue to think that this is a situation where you're looking at the big picture for the Cardinals. It includes last year. It includes right now. When I look at the stands, things ain't fixed. They just aren't.
For sure.
And that is an issue that continues to be in the place. So as part of your responsibility as either ownership or as leadership in the organization for what's on the field, does it have to say when you have to look around and say that enough of our people have an issue with this, that maybe we do need to pay attention to it? I don't know if there's an absolute yes or no to that, but I do think it's a factor.
So how would you prefer that Oli handle himself in the post game? Now, I obviously the Derek Gould one was unnecessary.
Keep your eye on what's important. Going after a writer, having little things happen in the clubhouse all the time. That stuff leaks out. That's between the boys. That's between how it gets reported out. The Tyler O'Neill thing last year wasn't the best look, but at the end of the day, stuff like that happens. I'm not overly concerned about that. But don't be in a situation where you're losing to a team who would have the first pick in the next year's draft right now, and you decide to make it be about what's going on there. You have to, at some point, call the guys out.
There it is.
You have to call the guys out at some point.
Okay, so
but that doesn't happen enough here. Like, that doesn't happen enough here. And so if you talk about, if you want to bring Tony back up, if you want to even go back to Whitey, if you want to come back to Schilt, when I think about every manager that I've watched, Renee Latchman, Joe Torre, I mean, those are all the managers I've seen, there wouldn't be a point where it never came up about what the guys are doing, and it's about other things. You got to pick your fights the right way, but you also got to know when you've got to leverage the role you're in properly, even if it's pandering. Even if it's pandering. Even if you're coming out and you're saying something on the podium that represents a different way, you got to do that sometimes.
Something in calling out a player? Is that what you're saying?
Okay, so
not calling them out. I think there's a difference between calling a player out and then calling accountability for where performance isn't at.
So
those are two different things to me. I don't think that it's one extreme or the other.
Specifically, what about what he said to Katie Wu when she was asking, where he basically said without saying, I'm hamstrung because of my bench options aren't very good?
That's probably the most revolutionary thing he said in 2 years.
Now, I like it, but look, I'm not very big on winning the press conference because I don't think winning the press conference means you win games. I don't.
I think it can win you people in the stands, though, and you got to pay attention to that here.
Oh, well, that's valuable, for sure. And
Sometimes what you put out, Cam, you've been in this arena, so correct me if I'm wrong. Sometimes you got to tell the boys what you're going to say, and they understand exactly what it's going to mean when it comes out.
Usually I'm just hiding in the corner.
Of course, you're running away. But if you're going to go, if you're Nolan Arenado, or if you're Paul Goldschmidt and you're off to a tough start, and you go out there in that podium, you're Oliver Marmol, and you say something about that, probably isn't too bad for you to mention something about where you're going or what your comment meant. Maybe you don't need to do that for...
You give him some heads up.
Who's the last guy on the bench? Yeah, I mean
Taylor Motter.
Yeah. Taylor Motter.
You could throw him under the bus.
You're going to recall him 8 times this year anyway. So
he knows the deal.
He's just happy not to be on buses.
He knows the deal.
I like what Chief did when he was here calling guys out, man. Like he just did it the right way. He said the right thing. Called the right guys out. They weren't the fourth line guys. They're the big boys. You know what I mean? Army comes in, says the right thing, calls himself out, calls out Chief, calls out the players. I'm like, that's real. That's normal.
Well, I would love it if every coach...
Oli and Mo certainly don't do that.
I don't know. There have been times where they have said, I mean, Mozeliak to this point, he doesn't take accountability to the media because he doesn't talk to him in a group setting anymore. That doesn't hardly ever happen. Not since opening day has that happened. But he will, in the interviews he gives, acknowledge that things aren't good and he's got to, it comes down to performance. But I don't think it comes off in a way that fans appreciate.
They don't like
because I think quotes are out there. They say it, but it's
I think it might be a bridge.
Yeah,
I think it might be a
Is it-
bridge in a relationship between the fan base and between the individuals that can't be rebuilt.
I think that might be fair.
I just think that that's it. And one of the things that when you talk about all the time, you say, sometimes the message just has to change. Sometimes the direction just has to change. I think that, at least with the relationship between the fan base, and you could take that for what it's worth, and where you're at there, I think that might be a bridge too far.
I think Mo sees it, by the way. I think he sees it and knows it too. Because if you look at some of the interviews he's had, he is often alluding to this thing winding down for him.
How about Oli sends a message by dropping Goldie and Arenado in the lineup? All-knowing expert.
Arenado, sure.
You don't think Goldie? Look, he homered yesterday, so I get it.
Truth be told, I do not know what his recent stats off the top of my head, but I know that May was pretty good for him.
So here's my thing when I look at the Cardinal lineup, and again,
652 OPS.
No.
What is it in May? Is it a 652 in May?
Oh, that's overall. I can find it.
May
for you.
was good for
I would
Goldie.
be more interested in what's happening in the current window as opposed to the total window.
Don't make your lineup based off what happened in April.
Because
Well, it's a 623 in June.
Also,
it's
bad.
June 19th.
The other thing about it is
Juneteenth.
Thank you.
What is it again this year? Is it 619?
It's a 623. Oh, Juneteenth.
If
it fell on June 19th
if Goldie's OPS was
That'd be
619, he could hit
funny.
that home run today and go over Chili Davis. I'd be okay then.
I think Mason Wood should be batting lead up regardless
like
of the pitching match.
Here's my thing, though, about the Cardinal lineup. And I know we need to get out of here for
Yeah.
a second. I'll say this. Maybe we can greeny tease it. when you look at this roster, and it goes back to the first point I made about last year and about where you're at to date, what is the ideal lineup? Like, you got to put guys out there, but what is if you drop Arenado and you drop Goldschmidt?
Who are you putting up there?
Fine, but what are you moving up?
Who are you moving up?
They made the key move that I already thought they should have made, which was putting Mason Wynn at the top.
Yeah.
That was the only thing that's presented itself as an opportunity to move up. The only other move I can really think you can make to improve this lineup right now is regarding protecting the forearm of Wilson Contreras.
Yeah.
That's it. Otherwise, you're moving around a bunch of guys that are just going to do the same thing in other places.
There might be a genuine case to bring Jordan Walker back with how bad it is.
At this point, what do you got to lose?
He's gained a little bit of momentum in Memphis. He's still not hitting homers very often, but Nolan Gorman is 1 for his last 28, guys. He's hitting 0-36 over the past 7 games.
0 for 5 with 3 Ks last night.
He
Pretty
has
good.
been awful.
For the Marlins.
Awful.
Pretty good.
Like, he is streaky. We get that. And I've seen at times people on Twitter be like, he's not actually as streaky as you think. No, he really is. Don't downplay it. This is what he is. But you can't have that guy batting in the middle of your lineup either when he's going like this. When he's the guy hitting 10 homers on a road trip, then it's great. But he's one of the guys that's supposed to be carrying you. Goldschmidt is 620 OPS this month, supposed to be carrying you. Arenado, you've alluded to his struggles. It goes back to, and I know people say, well, Oli doesn't hold guys accountable. I was in a room when he said, if Goldie and Nolan, Arenado, and Gorman aren't in the middle hitting homers for us, and then he just gestured. He didn't have a way to finish that sentence.
What do you want me to do?
If those guys aren't hitting, this team's not going to be very good.
And I
all
appreciate
three
his
of those
honesty
guys
in
aren't
that
hitting.
moment.
And I think that sometimes
And he's right.
when the guys don't perform, managers fall on the spike for it. It's a lot easier to get rid of one guy than it is to get rid of 9.
100%.
Get rid of all of them.